Good afternoon. My name is Olabode Hayola, Master Student International Relations, and I'll be discussing and presenting on the concept of international relations, the state, and war. And what do we mean by state in international relation? In international relation, states are assumed to be persons by virtue of their capacity to act intentionally, if not always rationally. And in international law, states are assumed to be persons by virtue of being bearers of rights and obligations. States have existed for centuries, and as Carl Osti points out, 15th century Europe was dotted with hundreds of different policies, overlapping jurisdictions and divided loyalties. Until a few hundred years ago, sovereign states were at best marginal players in international society, and there is no reason to suppose that they will necessarily remain central to international relations in the future. States are now so familiar part of the furniture of international relations that we rarely question their presence. And as the School of English will say, sovereignty is a rule of membership and behavior in international society. And it is difficult to imagine the modern state without sovereignty without it. And some of the opposition came from other forms of political community like papacy and Holy Roman Empire. And sovereign itself, we can say sovereign consists of two main characteristics, which number one is the idea that the state should not be subject to any foreign power, and number two, which is um, the idea that the state is the supreme authority within the territorial jurisdiction. And the rights of sovereignty as an organizing principle in international society did not go unchallenged. Until the 17th century, states were one of many political organizations in a world that included overlapping sets of empire, feudal fiefs, religious communities, and tribal chiefdoms. The centralization of power, of political power in the hands of a single sovereign marks the beginning of the modern state, which is defined by the exclusive right to sovereign authority within the territorial jurisdiction. Centralized states also provide they proved particularly good at raising money and manpower needed to fight wars, allowing them to to outcompete their other forms of political units or their enemies. Then also I'll be talking about power. How do we define power? Power is the ability to do what the authority you have to control others or over to control a group of people, like the authority one is given, either elected or chosen. And what do we mean by power? And there's a relationship between parties, and one party prevails each other, which means power, a party has a relationship, and whereby the strongest party have to prevail over the other. And a difference in quantitative capacity that puts a party in an advantageous position, which allows them to prevail over the other party. Another meaning is a zero sum approach in which the gain of one party is balanced by the loss of another. Weaknesses of the three approaches of power. There is the assumption that the strongest party always prevail over the weaker. This is, however, not always true. Power should not be assumed to be tangible or measurable, and power is not solely for major international players. And another argument on the premises of Ayer's argument about power is there are forms of power that are not seen, including nationalism and faith, legitimacy of behavior to the power, and social power in international politics, power of social facts created through human, An example is how stronger actors use economic market to sanction other area states. And under power, we can say geography as a power, which is the idea of geopolitics, which is based on the premise that although power is created by intangible forces, but material realities include the geography around the actors and the state tip and which always scale the use of power. Also, also we can say geography shapes economic policy and geography shapes foreign policy, and hence the ability to control and manipulate who controls land mass determines who the main actors are in world politics. And under this power, it is in Europe. It is observed that um, who rules the Eastern Europe rules the Heartland, and who rules the Heartland commands the world island, and who rules the world island rules the world, according to Mackinder in 1942. And another topic I'll be talking about is the geographical size of a state, and because this means the geographical size of a state affects the power they have, and this, however, not always true, as there are other states are large, but they have very little power and they are poor, and this also always determine um, their strength, because as a state, if you are not rich and if you don't have money to mobilize manpower, you will be overcome by another state that has the sovereignty, that has the power and the money to mobilize such. Also, we have under states we have non-state actors, and this the state does things that no other international actor role is able or willing or permitted to do. But this does not mean that non-state actors are powerless in international society. So, in conclusion, I will say states can become as powerful or more powerful than states that were previously more powerful than they were, and states can improve their relative positions in international politics by leveraging on other factors such as um, ensuring they have money to mobilize their armies, like having money to compete in the economical world, financial stability, uh, and making sure they utilize um, um, their their making sure they utilize their amenities, because states can lose their advantages by managing them poorly. In respect to power, we can say power and authority are not synonyms, because although the two are similar, authority is simply power given by some legal backing. Hard power and soft power is a concept that was developed by Neer in 1991, because hard power refers to advantages created by economic and military power, and soft power is the appeal a state has in attracting other states to its plight. Europe and the US understand and use power differently since the end of World War II, and this is seen by Kagan in 2002. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you.